We have a surprise for you on your screen. Now, I know who this is. Can you all see who this is? Can you maybe make a guess to see who this is? I'm really excited about who this is as well because I don't get to see this leopard as much as I would like. So this little leopard was found by one of the Chitwa vehicles, so we have to say thank you very much to them. He was seen, I'm giving little clues, he was seen around 2:30 by Chitwa Dam, and then we came and gave a hand and he popped out here in the drainage line, and it has just dropped about 10 degrees, which is fantastic. We've got big cloud cover coming over, so because it's dropped temperature, he is getting used to, or not used to, he's moving, he's deciding what he's going to do, and there is a lot of food around for him to hopefully hunt and give action with this one. We also need some action, so there's your big clue. He's so beautiful. He has a very distinctive, what we would call necklace around his throat there. So that's going to be one of his defining features other than the usual spot pattern that we use. The other defining features is that his eyes are yellow golden, straight through. There's no other tinge there. He's just about 2 years old, and he traverses quite a few properties. So I'm hoping that you guys have figured out by now who this little boy is. It is the Prince of Djuma and his little Husana. Very excited to be looking at him now. So because of the drop in temperature now with the cloud cover, and because we're close to the water, he's actually picked a really good spot, because a lot of the species that need to come and drink before it gets too dark are going to either come past him, or the wind is going to blow their scent enough for him to figure out that they're around. And he's also going to be able to use decide to hunt, and he just carries on. When he goes for a drink of water, we're hopefully going to get some really excellent views of him getting to Chitwa Dam. So I'm going to do my best to stay with him as long as possible. It doesn't seem as if it's going to be a very busy sighting, as the Birmingham male and the Sticks and Gala are south of Gowrie, Maine, in Little Gowrie, just south of Baboon Pan. We can't access that area, but a lot of vehicles have gone over there, so they're busy with that side. I know Scott's going to try and relocate on drives. We've had Tinkana, Kachava, Hosana, and Shadow. Well, now we just need a little bit of Tundi love. Do leopards have to kill? Now, Edward, leopards are very variable with their diet. They can eat baby mice, they can eat scorpions, they can eat impala, they can eat duiker and steenbok. Even big males will go for things like baby giraffe. So when they haven't managed to kill anything large, they sort of snack along the way. They'll even eat guinea fowl. If for some reason they can't get to baby mice and guinea fowl and scorpions and the smaller things, then they really only need to make a kill once or twice a week, depending on the size of the kill. They are very good at taking care of themselves, and also because they have a protein diet and they usually stuff themselves, it doesn't have to be every day. All right, from one amazing predator to another amazing predator, Taylor is up in the Masai Mara, and she's got some cuteness that she would like to show you as well. So let's head on up to her. So we've moved around for another view of Husana. We had another vehicle that came to join us, and because we're such a tiny little short body vehicle, we can squeeze ourselves into places that some of the game viewers can't. So we moved around, and I'm actually quite happy with this view that we have here. He's actually looking a little bit more full than I would expect him to. Maybe after Scott was finished with him yesterday and through this morning, he managed to get a couple of those small piglets. You never know. It's also possible that he maybe has a kill somewhere near here that we just haven't seen. This drainage line's very difficult to access, so we're lucky that he pulled himself out of where he was before, so that we can actually view him. So you can just see there on the right hand side, he's just got a little bulge, not a huge bulge, not as large as Tingana was the other day, but big enough. And he is still breathing heavily because it was so hot. But this temperature drop is absolutely magnificent, not just for him, but for myself and Ferg as well, because there's no shady spots around here. Scarlett, you'd like to know, do male leopards always spend time by themselves alone? Scarlett, in general, both male and female leopards tend to be solitary. The only time, one of the few times that you tend to see leopards with female leopards with another one is when they have youngsters. Now, that being said, where we are here in the Sabi Sands, are slightly an exception to the rule. Leopards have what's known as random distribution patterns rather than a clumped distribution pattern like lions. So you can get one and then travel very far and then have, one or two. For us here, because of the type of soil we have, which gives us such hardy vegetation that is very palatable, it's easy to eat, which means we get a lot of prey species. That also means we get a high abundance of predator species. So because of that, we get behavior in leopards here that you don't always see everywhere else. So we routinely see 2, 3, 4, 5 leopards in a sighting. But in general, if you want to take it as a sort of rule of thumb, male leopards and female leopards are usually on their own, yeah. But take that with a pinch of salt because they don't read the books, hey? Everything's different. Yes, he blends in so well. So from where we are, we can see him nicely, but where we were before, because there's just a little bit of grass in front of his face, and then the color of the soil that's here, that allows him to camouflage with barely anything around him. And that's sort of what he's meant to do, is he's meant to be in the open and still be hidden at the same time. It's good for his hunting patterns. Maximus, great question. You want to know, would Husana be a threat to Tingana's territory? Now, normally with a little male leopard like Husana, he would have to move away from his natal area and around this age and sort of go off and look for either open spots or just spend a couple years getting larger and then fight to take over territory. But because Tingana and Mvula are both older male leopards, and because there's Husana and also Tamba, as well as a couple other males that are sort of popping their heads up, I don't think he's going to go too far afield, and I do think that he is eventually going to be a threat to Tingana. Know what Scotty D thinks of the scenario, but my personal gut, so as around about 4 years old, we're going to see him really push out Tingana because of how the age. Because their territories keep shrinking after they get sort of ousted from their main core territories. But yeah, I do think that that's a distinctive possibility. Sorry for the noise in the back. We just have one of the vehicles from Chitwa that's leaving us to carry on to go look for something else. There, he's picked up his head just to listen a little bit. The wind's starting to pick up with these rain clouds moving through. I don't think it's going to rain right now, but I do think maybe within the next hour to two, there might be a minimum of 60 millimeters to really get this bush going. Scott and I were chatting about it today, and all of the green is now starting to turn brown. So we need some good rain. Even though it's the rainy season here, rain distribution patterns within the Lowveld area are very particular per area. Scarlett, you'd like to know what age Husana will be ready to mate. So Husana technically has all of the abilities right now to be able to mate, but he's not quite there. It's very similar to humans. You, as a very young teenager, have all the bodily functions of being able to mate, but your maturity level is not necessarily there. So he'll probably start mating with female fully different. I know a male that at 2.5, 3 years old, he just went through this funny little growth spurt and managed to find a niche for himself that no male was occupying, and started all of that process a little bit earlier. And I also know males who took about with females because their territory surrounds the territories of 3 to 4 to 5 females. I'm loving all the questions, everybody. For those that might just be joining us, and it's so amazing, we have 2 viewers who have told us this morning and yesterday afternoon, oh my goodness, Safari Live, I just found you, and have started interacting with us. So for any of those viewers that might be watching who are new, please do. And for any of you silent viewers, we love hearing from you. Don't be too silent. There's a little yawn. So don't forget, you can ask us questions or make comments on hashtag Safari Live on the Twitter or through the YouTube chat. Or if we do an action broadcast on whatever platform we're doing action broadcasts on as well. Sean, good question. You want to know if we have panthers in Africa. So panthers are one of the large 8 cats across the world. And Sean, no, it's not one of the large cats we get here. In Africa, we get cheetah and lion and leopard. Those are the 3 big cats that we get. Panthers you will find in parts of South America and Central America. We do get melanistic leopards, though, if that helps. So melanistic leopards are leopards that have an overpigmentation. So you'll see rosettes, but not like this. The whole coat will be black, and then the rosettes will be sort of shining through the back end. There's a nice yawn. Sorry, everyone, we're having a few gremlins that are knocking at our door, a little bit of picture breakup and sound breakup. It does happen. We are live, and with the weather changing like it is where Ferg and I are sitting, it's bound to bring a few of the gremlins out. As you all know, when gremlins get wet, they turn crazy, and there's rain on the horizon in the next couple of hours. So now Husana is yawning away, and that means he's possibly going to start moving in the next couple of minutes. And you can see that big, beautiful rain. Careful, Ferg, there, the things there, rain cover there. Oh, sorry. There we go. So a leopard will always have rosettes, Hampus, but sometimes what you'll see with the melanistic leopards is that it looks completely black until you take a closer look. Now, Husana has started to stalk something. I have a feeling it might be a little bird or a lizard. I can't see anything else that he might want to do, or to catch, rather. Now, unfortunately, to give the other vehicles a little space, I wonder. Of some sort, or possibly a lizard, maybe a little scrub hare, or maybe he sees something on the damn wall that I can't see at the moment. That would be another possibility. So I was thinking he saw something right there. I'm just going to let him go forward a little bit more, and then I will move the vehicle. It's not going to disturb anything. All right, I'm just going to move around just a bit, just so we have a better view. Just stay with me, everybody. I feel like whatever is happening with him is behind the damn wall there. And so careful there, I just want to move around so that when he starts to run, we'll get a good view of it. All right, now I do have 2 other vehicles that are with me here, so we are just going to have to keep that in mind. All right, so we've moved forward enough. This is about the best that we can do for any sort of visual with him. Notice how he went right in front of that vehicle and he went right under the tracker's feet. He's very used to us. We're part of his natural environment. It's also a very tricky move to decide when to move the car and when not to move the car. I've been doing this quite a while. Every now and then you don't do it correctly, but you could see from what he's doing when he got past that little dark spot that that's not where he was looking. I did. Now he can still see whatever it is interesting him, and I'm actually wondering if it's something in this tree. Now that I'm saying that, I'm still thinking maybe on top, because it's not right on top of the dam wall. It's possibly went below the dam wall. All right, guys, we're just gonna go over to an action 100% live from the Sabi Sands in South Africa, where stalk out of the drainage line that he was in, and he's caught his eye on something. Now, we can't decide if it was something that was on the dam wall that went behind the dam wall, or if it is possibly some birds that are catching his eye, but we're going to stick with him. He was doing the crouching and then lying down and crouching and slowly moving forward. He's just laid down now, so whatever he is stalking, he's biding his time slightly. Now, far in the distance, I can see some impala, and they are not too far from the water's edge if they were to start move down. From where we are here, they're a little bit too far for him. So I think that there's something else that moved along to go and grab a drink, and he's just being absolutely patient. I can also see it's going to be possibly out of frame for the camera. There are impala that are about 100 meters, which is about 100 yards from us at about our 9 o'clock, that might also possibly move down. So there's a lot that's happening here. So we're just going to have to decide how we move with him when he starts moving. And Philip, you've just joined us and you're saying perfect sighting. It is indeed, Philip. This is a sighting that is full of, sorry, Philippa, excuse me, Philippa. This is a sighting that's full of potential. Now, interestingly enough, earlier we were talking about what does a leopard eat. Now, Husana likes things like steenbok and duiker. Those are all antelope species that we get here in southern Africa. If you're still not sure what an antelope is, it's very similar to a deer. We don't get any deer in sub-Saharan Africa. We just get antelope, but the body shape is very similar. So now you're asking, what is he waiting for? So basically, he's waiting for whatever he saw that he feels like eating. So other than those antelope species that we were talking about, they'll also eat things like birds and mice and lizards and scorpions when they feel like it. And because he's a younger leopard, he's just about 2 years old, there are things that will catch his eye other than some of the medium-sized antelope species. And so whatever it is that's caught his eye here, he has crouched down low enough, but he's still looking every now and then, and he's trying his best not to move overtly. So from the angle that I'm sitting, I can't necessarily tell exactly what he's seeing. And because I'm live with you all, I can't ask the vehicle that he crept underneath. But we're just going to have to wait. We're going to wait with bated breath. Karen from New Mexico, hello as well. And Lori from New York, hello. It's nice to have you guys on our action. Those comments and those questions as much as you would like, and we will try and answer as much as we can. Oh, he's moving slightly. Whatever he's seen is still interesting. Do you see that? See how do any of you have cats at home, domestic cats at home? They'll do a very similar thing when they've noticed something that catches their eye that they want to eat. Now, there's some really amazing footage that's out there of leopards chasing tree squirrels up through trees and catching them, and monkeys as well. So it's not just the large things like we talked about. This could be a tree squirrel that he sees. Megan, you're saying that he's got gorgeous eyes. He does have gorgeous eyes. Every leopard's eye color is different. He's got gorgeous yellow eyes. I'm so sorry that it seems as if my voice is dropping in and out from your end. From our end, it seems to be okay, but we'll work on that problem a little bit. So excuse me if it sounds like I'm coming in and then going out. I can't really talk louder than the way that I'm talking now. We've got 2 other vehicles in the sighting with us, and also he's interested in something, so I don't want my normally loud voice to disturb any of the scenarios that could possibly take place here. He is slightly losing interest in whatever caught his interest. But then he looks back and he catches it again. Sarah, you're saying that this is the coolest cat. He is indeed one of the coolest leopards. Our resident territorial males is my absolute favorite. But Hosana is, yes, he's a beautiful little boy, and I can't wait. Started to come into his own. His neck is thicker. Ooh, we had a European roller fly past and then see Hosana and have a little bit of a, there. What do you see, my boy? What is drawing your attention? It's interesting because he's got that bush that's in front of him, but we've also got a lot of brush packing that's on the side of the dam wall here. That brush packing is used to help stop the erosion of the soil from coming off the dam wall and making the dam wall too thin. So it's possible that whatever he's looking at is inside this bush, but it's also possible that he... But I'm feeling more like it's in this tree area. They'll also do things like try and catch mongoose. I've seen that before. This type of stalking you're seeing, you can actually see all the little... Lori, it could most definitely be a bird. That's definitely a possibility. A bird, a squirrel, an impala farther in the distance we can't see. But I don't know. My gut's saying that it's inside this tree. Look, you see that? You see those tiny little movements he's doing? He's trying to sort his body, the angle of his body, just enough to be able that when he needs to move, to grab it, but not move too much now to scare whatever it is away. I'm going to put my binoculars on quickly and see if I can see possibly what he sees. Now, if it is something like it's a squirrel. I can see the tree squirrel. It's just come down. The dead log here makes a funny little L shape towards the top. And there's a little tree squirrel that's in there that's come out. Now, normally tree squirrels will see a leopard and they start making their alarm call. But this tree squirrel's not alarm calling at all. So on the top right-hand side of your screen, can you see that thicker branch that's moving from right to left? And just towards the top, there's a gap just sitting on top of that branch, and that's what he's staring at. So that tree squirrel must have been moving in and out of these these logs that are here that have hollowed out a little bit, and he has really taken a liking to this tree squirrel. Now, part of it might be just because of prey that moves so quickly. Milani, you're curious to know how long they can stay like this. Milani, it could be 5 minutes. It could be hours. Before I started working with Safari Live, one of my good friends is one of the cameramen here. He's been a cameraman sub for quite a while. And he was telling me that they waited, I think it was something like 3 hours for another one of our male leopards, Tingana, who was crouching over a hole where a warthog had gone, waiting for this warthog to come out. And I believe that Tingana ended up waiting through the night, if I remember correctly. but viewers, the viewers that have seen us for so long must correct me on that if I'm wrong. He eventually didn't get the warthog, but he stayed in that one position for an extremely long time. So it depends on how hungry and how much he actually wants it. Ferg is just zooming in there. You can see this tree squirrel moving. Cynthia, you're saying that it looks like Tingana has been eating well. Yeah, Tingana is not thin by any stretch of the imagination. He's not overly fat. He is definitely very healthy. Yeah, so the Hosana, of course, yep. Hosana has not been starving himself by any stretch of the imagination. Melissa, you're saying snack time, indeed. But Melissa, it's also not just snack time. It's also practicing his skills. That's also what it is. Now, I like this wide shot that Ferg has. I'm going to explain to you what the tree squirrel is doing while you all keep an eye on Hosana. The tree squirrel is now moving to the right-hand side of that log, and he's just busy. He probably has a little cache of seeds and nuts that are inside of there. He might also possibly live inside of there, depending. And so he's just moving around, going about his daily business. Now, I'm finding it amazing. He either hasn't seen this leopard or he just doesn't care. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's a squirrel that doesn't realize that this leopard can catch him. And I think Husana is aware of this because he's not moving too much. And what I personally think he's waiting for is for this tree squirrel to come down out of the tree. Don't think you can catch me. And so he's teasing him a little bit. Although usually when tree squirrels tease leopards, they do a bit more of an alarm. Their tails up and down. That squirrel's not doing this at all. Could also be possible that it's a younger squirrel and just isn't aware that he needs. You see the intent on the face there. Now, what's very interesting is the space that he's decided to lie is literally right in front of one of the other vehicles, just to the right-hand side of the tracker seat. So on my vehicle, we don't have a tracker. It's just myself and Ferg, who's on camera. So that vehicle that's there can't actually move without possibly disturbing what's happening here. So they have to wait it out. Very similar to the rest of us. His tail is completely flat. The teeny little part to that is just to the left-hand side. His tail is very flat. If he were to be moving his tail, that squirrel would pick up on it. Hello, Moses from California. I hope you're enjoying this special action broadcast live from South Africa in the Sabi Sands with our very curious cat Husana, busy keeping an eye on a very cheeky squirrel. All right, this vehicle unfortunately is going to have to try to move. He's doing it as quietly as he possibly can without disturbing too much. To a sighting, so don't fret, but he does have to make sure to take his guests to a place that suits everybody, and every now and then we do have to move, but notice how it's not changing anything to do with the sighting. That squirrel is carrying on doing what that squirrel wants to do, and Husana is also doing everything that he wants to do, which is to lie very still. Now, the intent look on Hosana's face has not changed, but the breathing has changed slightly. He's taking in some larger breaths because I think he thinks that this squirrel is going to come down out of this tree. But But again, we're just going to have to wait and see with bated breath. You've just joined us with our special action broadcast. This is Husana, one of the young male leopards. We're sitting here on the backside of Chitwa Dam, and he is busy stalking a squirrel who's giving him a very hard time at getting access to come out of this tree. Tina from California, thank you so much for those kind words. Tina was telling us that this is the most amazing part of her morning routine that she's added for herself and for her son. Tina, I'm so glad that the two of you enjoy our Safari Live broadcasts as much as you do. So for any of you that are new to the Safari Live broadcast, because you're watching from twice a day live, you can catch us on YouTube. You can Google Safari Live or Wild Earth and find out our schedule off of our website, and then log on to YouTube every morning and every evening and watch myself, Scotty D, Tristan, Steph, James, Taylor, Ralph, Jamie, and Brent as we carry on doing safaris live for you from Sabi Sands in South Africa and from the Masai Mara in Kenya. And don't forget, it's also interactive. So all of these questions and comments that I'm answering live with you now are all coming through to our final control, and then they're feeding them through to me. So basically, you type it in on the Twitter or whatever social platform you happen to be on, or on the YouTube chat, and then they come through, and then I answer them for you out here in the bush. He is so patient. I could never be this patient with this squirrel. But also, having been guiding for well over a decade, I know that this will pass. Oh my goodness, Mina, you want to know what would happen if I'd walk out and approach that leopard? Mina, this is a wild leopard. We have a social contract that involves us staying in the vehicle when they're this close, and then he carries on his normal everyday life. So I am just going to stop now. I'm not in control of this sighting. There are other guys that are in control of this sighting, so there is some vehicle movement coming in and out. I unfortunately can't do anything about it, so I just need you all to bear with me on that. It's not affecting Husana. It's not affecting this tree squirrel sighting, but just please excuse the noise. So that would be bad. That would be completely unethical on our side to get out of the vehicle. He would do one of two things. He would either be so pissed off at me that he would charge me, or he would be so astounded that this crazy lady has gotten out of her vehicle that she's supposed to stay in, and he would run away. Now, vice versa, you can also do game viewing activities, not just from a vehicle, but on foot. But when you're doing that, you're not driving up to an animal this close and then getting out and going, oh, I'm on foot with an animal. You might drive out a little ways to an area, and then you get off and you do a proper walk, and then when you approach the wildlife on foot, you're doing so in a manner to try and make sure that they never see that you're there, hear, or smell you. So yeah, getting out of the car in a scenario like this, oh, that poor animal would get such a fright, and also it would completely ruin his hunting routine that's happening now. And we are so lucky that he sees us as part of his natural environment, so he carries on doing his daily activities with us being right here, that I would ruin that for him, breaking that social contract. That squirrel's gotten down pretty low. Now it just needs to be dumb enough to come out. Philip, you're asking what he was hunting. It's a little squirrel, a little tree squirrel. So in this part of South Africa, we only get one kind of squirrel. We get a tree squirrel. If you start moving north and west, you get tree squirrels as well as ground squirrels. We don't have anything like chipmunks. You got tree squirrels as well as sun squirrels, which are similar. I don't think you guys understand still as he's doing right now, and keep still and watch this squirrel move into hopefully just the right position for him to be able to pounce on and eat. I'm also finding it slightly amusing that he's chosen the squirrel because it's cooled down quite a bit from earlier, and I can count off the top of my head maybe sort of 50, 60 impala that are he could possibly get one. Now, that being said, part of his actions doing this again is to work his muscles. He's a younger leopard, to work his muscles and his skills. Dark within an hour here. So he might just be wanting a little bit of play action here and then waiting for it to get dark, and then he's going to carry on with impala. All right, everybody, I think we have had an amazing action broadcast. I think the best thing for everybody now is what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up this action broadcast that's been put out to the special platforms. And what I'm going to say to everybody is you must log on to YouTube, to Safari Live, after we log off here, and we're going to carry on watching him and wait and see what happens, because I think this is going to take another sort of 15 to 20 minutes. So for all the viewers who are usually with us, keep staying with us on YouTube. For any of the viewers that just pick up the little tings you get from the social media, hop on over to YouTube. And to all of our new viewers, Safari Live on the YouTube, Sunset Safari on the 28th of December 2017. And we'll see you all over then. Thank you so much for tuning in. That, or this is the dumbest squirrel we've ever seen and he's about to come out into the open. Husana's going to get him. Who knows? But this is an extremely exciting sighting. I mean, the anticipation is epic. And Husana is actually getting more warm by the second because of the amount of concentration and stealth he has to use in this tiny little compressed body, waiting for the exact moment that this tree squirrel will maybe come out of this tree. But it's epic. I hope you all are enjoying this as much as I'm enjoying this. There's no better way to be sweating out in the bush than how we're doing it now. And I'm also very thankful that this cloud cover came over. If this cloud cover hadn't come over, we would be sitting in the direct sunlight. It was about 38 degrees today. And also, he probably would not have started moving and be giving us this amazing little scenario that we're seeing now if it was still too hot. Sorry about that, guys. Water down the wrong tube. Now he's getting impatient. You can see he's getting impatient because his tail is moving. Oh, he's given up the ghost. He's yawning now. He's too impatient. He's decided that this tree squirrel has given the best of him. I think we're going to stay here with Husana, but I think maybe let's see what's happening with Scotty D and his search for Shadow. I wonder if he refound her after he found her this morning. We tried our best to park in such a way where we can get a visual of everybody, but we do have other vehicles in the sighting with us, and it's an awkward little spot that he's found. But there he is, sleeping. He's decided the tree squirrel is not worth his attention anymore. Now, if he were to hunt something else, we would need something like Impala or Nyala to come past, maybe on my left-hand side, and for him to care. I think he spent so much energy in this heat trying to get that squirrel that he's now tired himself out. We had a question that came through, I believe it was Joe Bello, that said, what did Husana do during all that elephant action? Well, this. He did not care one lick. He moved away from his little spot where he was with that squirrel and went into some cooler sand, and he is sleeping away. Now, I can see his belly a little bit bigger, so I do think he has eaten a little bit, but I don't think it's a lot. We have elephants coming up behind us for a little bit of a view. There's going to be some antennas and stuff in the way, but we can show you anyway. There they are, coming just behind us. They still have no idea that Husana's here. And obviously checking on us, but not concerned with us at all. Just meandering through. They're going to go eat and carry on for the evening. Now Husana has seen the elephants finally, and he has perked his head up. Ian, good question. You want to know why are they all so trusting of humans? Ian, we as humans know that we're not necessarily the best creatures out here. But if these elephants or this leopard or any of the things that we look out here have never experienced the negative side of humanity, then we're just part of the natural environment as we should be. And so therefore they carry on. The trust is not actually a factor. The trust is inherent. We as humans are in fact part of the natural environment. It's only when we do things that are aggressive and do it over generations that they sort of click on. So for instance, if we were still doing a lot of hunting in this area, then you might get different reactions from these animals, but this is a photographic viewing safari area, so we're just normal. Just normal, and this is what a normal interaction with normal wildlife that has not had negative interactions with humans looks like. So I'm just keeping an eye on the young bulls that are coming past us as well, just like Husana is. So he's not watching them in any sort of way where he's like, oh my goodness, it's elephants. He's just interested in their movement. Again, part of his natural environment. And I'm glad that he's sticking his head up a little bit for you. There's a bit of a branch in front of his face. I'm sorry about that, but there's some nice screenshots nonetheless. So tomorrow morning on Drive, it should be myself and it should be Scott, and I believe it'll be Ralph as well joining from the Mara. So I'm hoping that our leopard magic carries on and possibly our elephant magic. Maybe we'll get lucky and get lions and maybe buffalo tomorrow as well. But I hope you had an amazing day and you continue to have an amazing day, or as we are going to go in tonight, an amazing evening. So let us have one last look at our beautiful little Husana as we say good night and farewell from myself, Ferg, Scott, Senzo, everyone in the Mara, and everyone in FC. Enjoy.